Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, guys. Ali Adnan here with a little disclaimer for you guys, still with my flu-ridden voice. So, the following episode that you're about to tune into was recorded on the 26th of June 2021. That is nearly 2 years ago. It is thus safe to say that all four of our views that you're about to listen to may have changed and altered over time since the release of AOT Season 4 Part 2, and of course, which I myself am yet to witness, the final season, final part, conclusion arc special, whatever they're calling it, that has just come out that one of us, I believe, has seen so far. Since the following episode only covers our views from the beginning of the anime to Season 4 Part 1, stay tuned not just for Part 2 of this episode next week, but the week after for a brand new episode covering Season 4 Part 2 and the first part of the conclusion of the anime, whatever it is that Mappa's calling it. For now, please enjoy this episode. DM us with any feedback. If you'd like to come on the show and talk about the later parts of the anime in the brand new episode that is to come out, please DM us ASAP or write us an email as soon as you hear this episode and as soon as you hear this disclaimer. Take care and please enjoy the show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, guys. कैसे हो भाई बहनों? मैं Ali. And I'd like to welcome you all to. I'm never gonna get tired of this intro style, man. Some Ordinary Gamers is a goat. Y'all can DM me and I'll preach the religion of Some Ordinary Gamers to you guys. Anyway, so today I'm joined by not one, but two guests, and we are here with. I'm never gonna like. You can say that. I'm here with like my favorite rapper and producer in the whole world, and I don't even know what to say about Bianca. Bianca's just like the best. I think
fair rapper producer.
I know it's a little generic, but she's the best. Okay, and of course this guy who I don't know how Ali Hamid hasn't like quit yet, but you know we move, and and today we're going to be talking about a topic that I was forcing down Ali Hamid's throat for the better part of 6 months till he finally watched it and is completely in love with, like the rest of us, Attack on Titan. Now, full disclosure, we're not going to be talking about any spoilers. If we do, then for every manga spoilers, that is, sorry, for every manga spoiler that is omitted from the mouth of one of us, we have to put $1 into our Patreon, which we're launching soon. And of course, I'll bleep it. Okay. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming on like the sudden notice. I am so looking forward to this. For those of you that missed the pre-show, I think that's which is on YouTube, by the way, go check it out. I think that's a testament to just how high energy and passionate people have become about this anime, you know? And yeah, I mean, again, before I hand over to our guests and our co-host, because I've gone on for too long, as usual, Torment. I'm sorry, guys. I talk to like feel better. You know, this is my therapy. But I think it's the greatest work of fiction I've ever seen my entire life. Okay, and to top this would take another level of like sick, twisted storytelling. But we're here now. Before I hand over to, I guess we have a very generic question to start off with. Obviously, Ali Hamid already answered for you, but what was your guys' foray into Attack on Titan? How'd you find out about it, and why? And that makes sense. How'd you find out about it?
Ladies first, Bianca.
No, go ahead, please.
I learned about Attack on Titan in 2014. It was,
Nice.
I wouldn't say it was new then, but it was something that was really catching fire. And people were like losing their minds over like the amazing animation, the story, the characters. And at first, then I was more of like a Full Metal Alchemist buff. And then when I watched Attack on Titan, I was like, yes, this feels like a show for adults, even though I technically wasn't an adult at the time.
Sorry to disturb, but have you seen Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood? Because I have it.
Brotherhood, both actually, but I'm a
I have
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood downloaded. All I know from Full Metal Alchemist is Jugume Jugume Saigune Kirigi Furaimasu Uraimasu.
Oh, that's from there?
Yeah, the original clip is from there, and then they use it in the outro of another like anime. So yeah. Anyway,
But
continue. Sorry for cutting you off.
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, that was my introduction into Attack on Titan. Like it was a serious anime, even though like it had some comedic moments and whatnot. It was really serious.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say none of us were expecting it to bob and weave into what it did. But before that, Bianca, why don't you tell us how you found out about Attack on Titan?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the same thing, really. I don't really remember when exactly I got into it. I think it was around the same time, around like 2014 or whenever it came out, and it wasn't very popular then, but then it was getting on the rise. I feel like there were two times when it really like people really started boosting this anime, which is around that 2014 era, and then the pandemic, which got a lot
Oh,
more
yeah.
people into watching anime, and then
Yeah.
people started finding out this show, and they were like, oh my gosh, this show is so great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got into it way back, and then me being me could not. I always had to like find out for more. So once I like the seasons were, I think season 1 came out at that time. So once I was done with that, I started watching like the OVAs, going into like the backstories of other
yeah.
like other characters and stuff, because there's a bunch of that. And ever since then, I don't know, it's just been like my number one anime.
Listen, you can call me.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
But my favorite moment from the OVA was, the OVA in which they did the cooking contest. Did you see that one? Okay,
Yeah.
the contest between Jean and Sasha. Please,
Sasha, yeah.
Wallah al-Azim, so funny. Two moments from that. One in which Commander Pixis had such an unbelievably exaggerated reaction that he turned into a Titan, and then they showed Mikasa in Titan form trying to like cut him down and shit. Wallahi, I don't know where it came from. And the second one was when he was talking about in the background about hard work and dedication, whatnot, in the context of food. You had Mikasa. I think she was pissed off about losing to Annie, or like getting into a fist fight with Annie, or almost getting into a fist fight with Annie, and you could see she was training. Bro, when I tell
Yeah.
you, she's so ripped. Like, wallah al-Azim, I'm sorry, okay? I don't mean to sound like I'm sexualizing someone. But wallahi, bro, my
Pull out my credit card.
my soul, when she did that sit up, my soul left my body, khalas.
Exactly.
I was like, man, I want to be like that. Obviously, just the abs is fine. I don't want my pecs to be that big. But, well, bro.
No, it's the fact that she can just fuck us all up in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. I don't want to say that. Okay. Like, I think her abs are natural, even though she has like Ackerman abilities, because she trains like crazy anyway. But I feel like with the Titans, once you become like a Titan shifter, you get abs and everything. It's exactly what happened with I don't know if any of you've seen The Flash, but when the Flash got struck with lightning, he got abs. The first thing that happened was he got abs, because his body like accelerated and immediately burnt off all excess energy.
There's
And one of the first
there's a
concepts
traumatic shortcut to getting abs. Sign me up.
One of the first things, which is completely ignored for some reason in the show now, in The Flash, after 2 minutes of running, he would get hungry, because his body has like no excess energy, right?
Yeah.
So Cisco made like these ultra heavy protein bar thingies that he had to keep eating. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I think eventually he probably learned how to control his energy loss and metabolic rate and stuff, but that was it in the beginning. Anyway, I'm so sorry for the unnecessary digression. Ali Hamid, how did you get into Attack on Titan? Okay, listen, I know I told you about it, but it's like that can't be the only source of information, right? I'm sure you'd heard about it before.
Yeah, obviously I've heard about it. It's just
Yeah.
like I never got around to watching it because I wasn't really an anime watcher. Like I wasn't like an avid like it wasn't like a religious thing I'd do, like watch anime. But after you forced it down my throat for 6 months, and then
Sorry.
obviously
Good job, by the way. Proud of you.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, thank you.
then I eventually got around to watching it. I'm just there like, okay, I looked at the number of episodes in the first season. I just went 25 episodes, Jesus Christ. And then I remembered it's an anime, so it's anyway going to be 20-minute, 30-minute episodes. And then I just watched the first one. I'm like,
Yeah, the first episode is is a
That's
lot.
heavy. That's heavy. And then
Ali, would you be comfortable like sharing how you felt after watching the first episode, second episode? Because you texted me afterwards, right?
oh yeah.
How would you be comfortable sharing how it made
Okay.
you feel immediately?
To be honest with you, I didn't know what I was getting into, obviously,
Yeah.
and then I didn't realize how dark the first episode was gonna be. um, so then I watched the first one, I watched the second one, and then I didn't watch it for a week because I was just like, okay, let me register this properly, and then I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
So then I after a week almost, I just went ahead and watched like binge the rest of the season because I was so used to.
Yeah.
And after
My favorite thing is getting new people that people that have never watched Attack on Titan, watching their reactions as their faces just morph into horror and watching the first episode, and I'm just sitting there like.
Again,
Sorry to
no manga
interrupt.
spoilers, but if you've read the manga to the end, and then after that you go and watch the first episode, it makes it 50 times scarier and sick and twisted and messed up. My manga readers here know what I'm talking about. But yeah, anyway, continue.
Yeah, so then I binged it. So I binged like an episode a day, a season a day. So that was my biggest achievement ever.
So you finished it in 4 days.
Bro, in like two weeks or so.
2 weeks.
My
Like,
man
I took a
watched
week
it, he's like,
off.
bro, I'm done with season 1. And then 3 days later, bro, I'm done with season 2. And then 1 week later, bro, I'm done with season 3.
And 4. And the 4 the next day. I finished 4 the next day.
Yeah.
Yep. God, I'm fucked up in the head as well. It's like it went down hand in hand. So yeah, but then dude, it's just the one thing that drew me to the show wasn't, just the animation, wasn't just, the character. It was the storytelling. God, the pacing of the show was amazing. Like
It's
it was
perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect pacing. Like I just literally I used to like voice note 2 people. Was one Ali and one was my niece. Because she's like a big anime fan and she's been wanting me to watch. She's also been forcing it down my throat. She's probably gonna she's gonna listen to this episode now and be like, okay, yeah, that's so she literally was like, yeah, it's that's the thing. It's like the pacing is so well put. I'm just there like thinking, what the hell are the other shows doing? Like what are the other shows doing? Like this is such good pacing. And the one thing I mentioned it to Ali as well, and then I was just like thinking, every character introduced has a reason to be there. It's not like there's like one character introduced in the first like season, but then they're not heard of until like season 2. And they have their own whole arc. Like and then and then obviously like there's season 1, then there was season 3, and like the also I think the episode count kind of helped out in that way. Weirdly, I don't know if it's like I don't understand the whole background behind the scenes stuff, but like the number of episodes, like season 2, for example, when I opened season 2's folder and I saw there were only 12 episodes, I'm just like, wait, the other episodes missing? And then I go and check, and I was like, oh, okay, there are no episodes missing. That's fine. So then I'm just there like, okay, the episode count as well makes sense for the story. For me at least, it made so much more sense for the story because it's just, you can tell a lot of things in 12 episodes, but then to be able to fit in so much within just 30 minutes, that's like the maddest thing ever.
Bro, you did watch both parts of season 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Same day.
Usually when I see shonen animes, one of the issues is like when sometimes animes take their time to slow down on a character, like slow down, like a breather episode. But they usually do that to like fill runtime. But in Attack on Titan's case, it was the other way around. It felt like the show was giving us time to chillax, like breathe, before we jump into the next crazy thing. And every time the show used to slow down, it was done in a very beautiful, artistic way. Like take the moment with Ymir and Krista. It was totally random. It came out of nowhere, but that moment was placed so perfectly after that Siege episode. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. And every time there was a slow episode, you never felt like it was a chore. Every moment was placed with deep meaning there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Going off of that, I think with the Ymir and Krista, who we know as Historia example, they introduce these characters so subtly,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
then you
actually,
realize just how important they are. And everyone's arcs are intertwined. It's not like one person has like an arc entirely to their own. So if you're focusing on if you're focusing on Jean's arc, you have all these characters in the background, like in that OVA with like Jean's backstory as a kid or whatever. Like everything is intertwined, and that's like, I feel like that's like the main essence of Attack on Titan, because you can't individualize a problem. Everyone's going through it in just different ways, and that's what makes the show amazing.
Right. Yeah, Isayama pays a great amount of detail, like attention to detail and like world building. World building in Attack on Titan is some of the finest pieces of world building and I've seen in any fiction.
Yeah.
It never breaks its own rules. It sets a rule on how a mechanism works. It sticks to that till the very. There's no magic potion or anything that changes things. If anything any concept is introduced later, the consequences affect anything that came behind it. It works so effectively in retrospect. It never changes anything. The beauty of what you first experienced is still there, but now you just get to see a whole another side to it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, like season 3 is like the finest example of that. Like, change the whole genre of the damn show, and like everything makes sense if you watch it from the beginning again.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
The whole royal bloodline thing, I was just so like, whoa, okay, this is even more depth than we expected. Because the way they even introduced her was so simple, yet it had the most impact.
Yep.
Like just from her, officially calling herself Historia, and from going from Krista and then to like officially like, owning the name Historia. That in itself, if you look at the arc separately, you'd be like, okay, it's a simple arc. But then once you watch it in the entire context of the show, you're like, oh wow, that's brilliantly done.
Yeah, I think Isayama does a great job of like portraying these like important characters as humble as you can, so you can see the full extent of the glory when they actually get their like wow moment. Like when I saw Historia being crowned, I was like, oh my god. And it's not, and also like the female, can we like give it up for like the female characters too, because like he does such a good job, and Attack on Titan has one of the best female characters I've seen. Like this like 4'11" looking girl, like just kills her own like dad, Rod Rice. Like she's like looking up at Erwin, she's like, I got this. And she just goes and she does her thing, and then she comes out, she's like the queen, like a queen that actually does something. And then like her coronation's the next day. It's awesome.
It's so sick. Like, like when I found out like Titans were humans, like punished. Ali, we don't care about that right now. We're talking about AOT right now. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, when the whole like introduction of how they're humans outside the walls, and then the actually like the humans inside the walls are Titans whose memories were wiped, that whole thing fucked with my head. I'm just there. I'm just staring. I literally paused it then, and I'm just like, holy shit! It all makes sense. It all makes so much sense.
That
now.
makes sense, because when you see like the episode where Eren has the flashback of like his dad, with the injection, with the syringe, and you're just like, what is this all about? And then you see the basement episode, and you're just like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
And now when you watch that episode, like that nightmare episode back again, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Like now it's so obvious. Like now I feel like how could it be anything else otherwise? Right?
Yeah.
But when I recall my memory of watching it for the first time, it was so blurry and so mysterious. But now that I look at it, like this should have been easy for us to figure out. Like how did we miss that?
It's the genius of
guys.
the
We have a Sasha in the chat. Yo, Ali.
No,
guys, I hadn't had my dinner. Okay, I was working, and then
Give me that potato, son.
you can have half of it.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good now.
I was thinking, do you guys wanna name like each of the main characters and kind of like of the characters and to kind of like go in depth.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure,
Something
sure.
like that.
Okay,
Just
we're gonna.
before that,
Yeah.
have any of you figured out why Aaron laughed when Sasha died? I have.
I think. So.
It has to do with
no.
This is a question for Ali. Why do you think that like Aaron laughed when Sasha died?
I don't know.
Oh no, anime onlys can answer this question if they're attentive.
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. He turned into a genocidal prick anyway. But then
Okay, I'll give you a bit to think about. And I'll reveal the answer.
the look on Parvez's face when I said that was so priceless.
No, because I'm getting flashbacks of like season 4. Like I'm thinking of manga now, and I cannot unthink it. So I feel like Eren when he kissed Historia's hand. Like that's what I feel like. No.
Man spoiled the show for himself. He saw the end of Attack on Titan when he kissed her hand.
Yeah.
He saw the end of season 4 part 2. And that's why he's just all edgy and like he's like,
Exactly.
oh, beyond the wall. And speaking facts though, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know about the whole laugh part though. I'm not really sure.
Okay, I will reveal. شباب طب إنزين. The word for okay, first of all, who was who was Sasha in love with in the show? Niccolo, right? The chef.
Niccolo.
Yeah, my guy.
His nickname is Niku. Just Niku.
Okay.
And the word in Japanese for meat is Niku. But when she died and said Niku, whole crew thought she was talking about meat. And so when Aaron asked I think
what was her last word?
Yeah, what was her last word? You said
I hate you.
Niku, right? Niku, which he heard as meat, and he started laughing, right?
My God.
Because I think he clocked it. He clocked it. They didn't clock it. He clocked it.
This is so depressing.
And the thing is, it's completely open to interpretation. She may well have been talking about meat. Who knows? Because she was that kind of person. She was crazy. And
Actually, I'm more likely.
But most likely, she was talking about Niccolo, right? Because the amount of like heartbreaking deaths, I'm gonna start crying in the club right now, man. Two things. First of all, if you look at like some screen caps from different episodes, every time they didn't listen to Sasha, they got in trouble. Every time Sasha says something like, I hear footsteps, or I hear something, or someone is coming, or did you guys hear that? They got fucked and they didn't listen to her. She could hear Gabi swinging around the airship. And she said, do you guys hear that? And they were all like, no. Because they were busy celebrating, right? They were basically celebrating way too early. Like, this is the darkest thing of don't count your eggs before they hatch. Don't celebrate early. Don't celebrate too early. And the other thing, another death that I really want to like pay homage to, I feel like the most underrated relationship in the entire show was between Hitch and Marlo. So Hitch was the girl. Hitch you see mostly in the...
Wait. I'm sorry to interrupt. But before we go on that tangent, the way I saw the whole meat fiasco of why Aaron laughed is because this is not disclosed to like only manga readers. It's not a spoiler. So you know that Aaron has the power of the Attack Titan. Attack Titan has the power to foresee the future,
right, yeah,
and like the past and stuff like that, right? So Aaron knows how everything is gonna end, and from the moment that he kissed Historia's hand, I think he saw Sasha's death, and he saw that she was gonna say this. And he took that as like a confirmation for the fact that like, oh, this is legit, and like this is actually happening. So he wasn't actually laughing. I mean, he was laughing because he went insane. Like he was like, oh shit.
Oh
like,
yeah. That actually does make sense. Yeah, that
like the fact
that does make sense too.
That Niccolo interpretation though, that's brilliant. Like I never thought of it that way. But what I took from this is that like there are certain parts in the future that, or in like the season 4 present, that are happening that are fulfilling like Aaron's visions, and so he knows that this future is not subjective and that it's inevitable, and because of that he's laughing because he's gone crazy.
Pervez is like trying to let it all sink in.
I'm just that Nicola interpretation just messed me up, man. Because because I don't know, like maybe if it was a much younger Sasha, she might have died actually thinking about real meat.
Yeah.
But I think I don't
That's sad.
Yeah, this is a much more mature Sasha who found something more. I don't know, man. That's messing with me. But I do think you know what? I think both of it could be absolutely true because
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron has definitely lost it. I wouldn't say he lost it. I think he's laughing in the face of absurdity. He is when the future, like when the reality is so absurd, sometimes the right response is to, like, laugh at it or like just absolutely lose it.
Yeah, I mean, we all do stuff like that. I'm sure that you must have gotten so frustrated to the point where you just couldn't do anything but laugh.
Laughing,
So that's
laughing is a panic response, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened a lot. Yeah. Okay. Now going down the characters from.
Oh, Marlo before that.
Marlon Hitch,
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So I don't. Ali Hamid, do you remember Hitch? She barely.
Yes.
I think she barely showed up in the one with the short, like.
Yes,
hair.
I remember.
Okay, cool.
My memory
She
serves me
barely
well.
showed up in the main anime, but she was there a lot in the Lost Girls OVA. So if you haven't seen that, you should. Again, there was another scene in the Lost Girls OVA in which, anyway, I'm not going to describe that scene. I think you should watch it. But that's where you saw the most of Hitch, no pun intended. So the last thing that Marlo thought about when before he got like struck with the rocks from the Beast Titan's throw was Hitch, and she had no idea. And in season 4, when she found out, obviously she was mad devastated. I didn't like what they did with the character design in season 4 for Hitch. She's a completely different person. Her hair color is different, her face shape is different, her eyes are different, everything's different. But that's a completely different discussion. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out, that there are a lot of heartbreaking, unfulfilled or semi-fulfilled relationships. In fact, how many relationships you really think about it, is there a single relationship in Attack on Titan that actually reached fruition?
Ironically, it's Grisha and Aaron's mom,
Carla.
Carla and Grisha.
Yeah, kind of.
I think ironically
Grisha got some.
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
I think ironically they had like the best possible relationship. They get to have a kid, and yeah, that's very ironic because they probably birthed the most problematic person on the world.
Have you seen the family
No,
picture?
she gave birth to a little genocidal maniac.
Have you seen the picture of the the what's its face? The Jaeger family? Wait, the Jaeger.
Yeah, their Titan forms. Like Carla just sitting on Diana.
Yeah, I gotta show it, man.
Dina's
I gotta show it, man. Just give me a sec.
It's very funny. It's
Oh my god.
Traumatizing.
Oh my god.
That reminds. Oh, Aaron, just peeping at the back. That reminds me. I saw this theory on TikTok that like all the Jaeger Titans have pointed ears, like you can see.
Oh
And in the
yeah.
original image of like that mosaic of Ymir with making a deal with the devil,
yeah.
the devil has pointed ears too.
Oh,
So there's a theory that Aaron is actually the devil that Ymir made a deal with and all that. Interesting.
whoa. Okay, that's shit.
I mean, that could be. I mean, but we know the actual story is
We do.
Yeah.
We
like,
do. Ali doesn't.
So, but
Why
Stop the screen sharing. Oh, it's here. My bad.
at the same time, it's you know, that's one of the other things. Sometimes you cannot tell between Marley propaganda and Eldian truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes you ask yourself, at least I ask myself, is it worth trying to justify Eldians back then, or is it worth, respecting Marley's story? Because that's one of my favorite parts of this anime is it's very hard to take sides. It's really, really hard to take
There's literally like no right or wrong.
It's about as gray an anime can get.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Okay.
So like the parallelism that season 4 had with like World War II propaganda is just brilliant. Like the Zeppelins and the soldiers. Like, would you have thought that after watching the first episode that you would actually see a season where like you see like war tanks and stuff like that? Like,
Bro, I want to know exactly what happened in the time skip. I mean,
well,
I
they
guess
showed some flashbacks, right?
Yeah, they do.
I guess it's not that significant. Yeah, they did, but Also, I completely lost my train of
Remember,
thought.
they're gonna show more next season.
Oh, I remember.
Flashbacks.
Completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, I got it back. And it's gone again. Oh no, it's back. So I think the one thing that I guess we could probably agree on is that they messed up when they let a military issue and a political issue become a civilian issue. Okay? I'm not going to say that Eren was justified in... Okay, this is kind of a spoiler, so I'm not going to say anything beyond this point. Okay, I'm not going to say Eren was justified in his absolute hatred for anyone that wasn't from Paradis. But when you realize what Marley did, they did not give a shit who they were killing. They sent Titans, and they were like, every single subject of Ymir deserves to die because of, ironically, incomplete information that they had. If you focus on end of season 3, when Grisha is uncovering the truth of what actually happened, I don't fully understand what caused like the Great Titan War and things like that. But the Titans were actually used by Ymir as laborers to build the infrastructure for, I think, all of Marley, right? And I don't know what happened. Like, was there a power? I didn't understand fully. Was there a power struggle where people started abusing the 9 Titans or something? But they were never a weapon of war and destruction to begin with. Never. Something happened that triggered that. Do you guys have any idea what it is? Because I don't know.
I think it was the king of Eldia at the point, because Eldia had the higher vantage point like all those years ago. And they took Ymir as the power of the Titans and as their slaves, the king. And that's what I think catalyzed like.
The king.
Yeah.
The king got hella greedy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they built Paradis.
Yes.
Paradis is built because of the last king who actually was peaceful and wanted he basically said just don't fuck with us or we'll bring shit down. So they kind of enclosed themselves and they used the help of Ymir's like the 9 Titans or whatever. But we know now that like Marley has been after that war, as Marley sees it as like reparations, they abuse the power of these 9 Titans. That's why you have the whole like warrior unit and everything that they still continue to do. But then the Eldian War, like they were like brutal. They killed thousands of like Marleyans and whatever. So I do get what you're saying by saying that no side is justified. And Eren, with his like mindset, I think it's 100% personal. Like, yeah, he took it personally. Like he's gone through shit. Like he was not diplomatic about that at all. That for diplomacy, you have the scouts, like the Levi, Erwin, all those people. But Eren definitely took it personally.
I think the other way around in terms of the way I see it, at least, is Eren is perfectly capable of empathizing. And 2 moments that really come to my mind is first when they go to the beach for the first time. They see a Titan on the, face down. And
Right.
Eren's reaction to it is this was also a Patriot because it got shipped to Paradise. That's a huge shift in tone for Eren because Eren grew up hating Titan with his guts.
Yeah.
All the way to like calling Titan a Patriot, right? So Eren is perfectly capable of empathy. And the second moment that like really highlights his ability to empathize is when Willie Tiber is giving a speech and he's talking to Reiner and he says we're essentially the same. We are just essentially the same people on different sides. I don't think Eren thinks about the concept of justification whatsoever, simply because he has seen the future. He just sees his own actions and the events that are about to play out, just things that are going to happen. Nobody thinks of justification for a storm to exist or the rain to come or the sun to shine. And the same thing, he sees actions in the same way because this is just what's supposed to happen. Whether it's good or bad, I don't think he even thinks about that.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that too. Okay,
I mean,
so
I'd like to say that for Riz, you, Bianca, and I have an unfair advantage because, we've read the manga. So I'm pretty sure that very heavily influences your opinion on the matter, right?
Yeah.
But, oh God, it's so tempting, but we're not going to discuss it. That's,
Good luck, man.
I
Good
No,
luck.
no,
I don't
I'm
get-
glad.
but-
I'm glad that one of us has not read the manga because that way we can ask for your opinion.
Yeah.
And-
But Ali Hamid, what do you think? Like, obviously, you saw the end of season 3. What do you think happened? Was it just like a corruption on part of the Eldian king? Because yes, if the Eldian kings were corrupt, I completely agree. If Marley had launched like a controlled assault of some sort, and to be fair, that's exactly what they wanted to do. If you really think about it, they didn't want it to become a civilian issue
right.
until things got really bad. Okay, so what they actually wanted to do was they wanted to sneak in the attack the colossal titan and the armor titan, and they wanted to capture the attack titan and any other of the 9 titans that was within the walls at the time. I think it was just Aaron's titan, the founder, with as little damage as possible, right? But then obviously when that didn't work, they smashed the wall, they smashed the other wall, and they ended up getting a bunch of people killed. And I think at that point, it's safe to say that the Marlians were the ones that crossed the line, even though it was technically the first King Fritz's fault. And it's beautiful. We found out at the end of the manga, actually, why did Ymir comply with him? But although it was his fault for starting it, I feel that the reason it becomes super gray is because Marley crossed just as many lines, if not more. Also, again, it's ironic, but it became a power struggle on the other end because there was never any agreement that the founding titan would go to the to the Marlins. There was no agreement of that sort. It was agreed that the power of the titans to the maximum, the founding titan, everyone would be kept within the walls, and everyone else could continue to exist peacefully.
That's what the king wants.
And then I guess another layer, which I kind of have to touch on, is the systematic racism. Because they hated Eldians with such a passion, I feel like that might be a driving factor that drove them to think.
Yeah, the show
What they
wants us to sympathize. I mean, we've been rocking with the Eldians from season 1 to season 3. The show wants us to hate Marley. The show wants us to, you know what happened to Grisha's sister, like all those like brutalities. You see the parallelism between like the Marlians and the Nazis and the Eldians and the Jews. Like, there's a lot of like World War II stuff going on. Like, so a lot of people will naturally be inclined to supporting Eldia, even though they committed atrocities in the past. The thing is, you can't blame anyone. There are bad people on both sides. It's just that, like, and I do agree. I am one of those people that sympathize with Eldia too, because I'm completely aware of the fact that the show wants me to like hate the other side, and I do because you see all these atrocities being committed, and you're just like, oh hell no, Team Eldia forever.
That's the part where I find this whole manga / anime to be like a stroke of genius from Sayama. Simply because I remember I watched Attack on Titan front and back. Then I watched it again with my girlfriend, and I was like, vicariously trying to live through her reactions, like for the first time again. And watching her cheer for Eldia in the beginning of season 4 when Eldia attacks Liberio, it totally changed and blew my mind. The way she was cheering for actual Marleyan citizens dying,
Right.
it blew my mind, because then I realized, so it's not about who was wrong first. It's about how it's all about where you measure the atrocities from. If you measure from the beginning of the first season, obviously Marleyans are at fault. But if you're measuring from, like, say, season 4, then you would see, so this was a struggle that was going for a long time. Both sides are at fault. If you go all the way to the beginning, and then you would say, like, you know what, LDA has done probably more shit than Marley. So it's all depends on where you start measuring from. Who has fucked up more, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, I when the whole power struggle thing came to be, right? I'm just there like, okay, there are gonna be people who are gonna be on this side, there are gonna be people who are gonna be on that side. I need to look at this from the middle, right? There has to be like sort of I'm always been a neutral person, so for me to look at it like in a neutral way has always been easier. But and here I just couldn't decide anyway because just choosing a side was in itself a difficulty. But that once I looked at it from the neutral way, it just makes more sense on why each side has their reasons. If to put it in a way like that, on one side you have Marley, and then the other side you have the Eldians. You have like Marley, who as Bianca said, the Nazis, the Jews, all of that, and then you have the LDS, who are like the one that are being oppressed, or the ones who are sent to live within the walls without any memory of ever been sent, right? So that in itself gives you an idea of how, when you want to choose a side and you just can't, it's okay to sort of try to be the balance and be like, okay, but even though you're saying this is the right way, and if you're saying this is the right way, then there is no way to look at it if you think about it from this perspective as well. There's going to be always like the whole perspective game in this show is like what again drew me into it. There is no like, how do I put this? Like, there is no way of saying what this is right or that is right. And like Ali asked me, how did I feel about the whole, what was your question, Ali, again?
Well, I don't know which one you're talking about. So at the beginning, I asked you, how did the first 2 episodes make you feel?
Yeah.
And then just now I asked you, like, what do you think started the whole, like, what
Okay,
caused
yeah.
the Titans from being a force of good to being, used as a tool of war for domination?
I think at the end of the day, if you want to look at it from the whole idea of the Titans being used for good at first, and then the idea of them being, not being like, and then you're suddenly becoming this weapon, this force of nature that, seems unbeatable, but then you realize, oh, there's a whole different layer to it. It just makes it even more harder for me to decide. Like, like I can't really tell you easily what side is wrong and what side is right again. Because if I talk about season 1 to season 3, I could easily tell you I'm on Team Aldea. But when season 4 happened, I can't decide. I literally cannot be like, oh, I just feel like they're all both it's like a big misunderstanding from both ends, and then that misunderstanding is just converted into hate and chaos, which,
I do believe that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yo, I don't think there was any misunderstanding, but anyway, go on.
No, for like, again, like I'm not saying it's a misunderstanding. I'm just saying it's a misunderstanding that turned into hate.
Bro, I think your diplomacy is coming into play, but I think I know what you're talking about. I think you're talking about like what happened later as a consequence, like why all the Eldian civilians started getting crazy amounts of hate from the people. Like the thing was straightforward. What happened with the Titans? Straightforward. King Fritz started using them as a tool of war, which caused hatred, and that hatred passed down generations. And they started. And present day, I guess, they were like, we need to get the founding Titan at all costs because, we don't feel safe. But secretly, I think they just wanted the power to themselves. Because, again, they were literally bound by the pact. No one will attack from Paradis. And no one did attack from Paradis until they attacked.
No, because the people in Paradis didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, their memories were wiped.
But then at the same time, Rod Rice knew.
Marley. They didn't know all of these things. They have been, and the Marlians are like brainwashing scores and scores of children into like villainizing these people and calling them like Eldian devils and like, oh, we must like ethnically cleanse these people. So
that's
basically
meme.
what happened to Zeke. Like, Zeke was trying to be brainwashed from both sides, and Zeke's parents being like Eldian restorationists were like, no, don't listen to what they're saying and whatever. It's that's what I mean by like this show clearly telling us who to support. The show, like, we would naturally side with the Eldians because they don't know what is happening. Marlians to an extent, even the civilians, they have an idea, And even though and they see all these people as like devils and island devils and whatever the hell. And Marley's actually the one with the Titan powers, because they're the ones that transform these people into Titans and then send them to terrorize Eldia. Which is exactly what the king was afraid of. The king was just like, you keep doing this bullshit, then the walls are gonna flatten, and then we're gonna all shit's gonna break loose.
You're gonna make chapati out of the world if you
Yeah.
That's I can see that happening. I can actually see that happening.
But actually, one of my favorite litmus tests for any piece of fiction is, say if this was real life, how would people actually react? Would the characters react in the way that normal humans would react? And the scariest part of Attack on Titan is, if this was actually real life, everything that happens in the show would probably actually happen the way it is, because humans are, we just love taking revenge. I feel like generational trauma and generational hatred and the cycle of violence, we are seeing examples of it in real world, and that's one of the most terrifying parts.
Yeah.
I would say maybe it's a tad bit extremified, like just a little bit, but
for sure.
little bit kind of made the big difference. Because I'll be very, very open, right? So in easy 60% of my friends are from Pakistan, right? I mean, I grew up here with them. They don't know what India-Pakistan rivalry is. They don't have any hatred because they didn't really grow up there. We're very neutral. We're very, pro-unity, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of sports teams have become pro-unity as well, which is weird. It's nice to see. But then my mom grew up in India, right? And although she's friends with the parents of the same people that I'm talking about, she's always going to be at least there's always going to be that one atom of I guess you could say not suspicion but hesitation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was to go to her right now and say that there's this Pakistani girl I really like and I want to get married to her in 3-4 years, she'd be like, at the very least she'd be like, why can't you find someone from India, or why can't you find someone from our community? What's the problem with that? She won't be like, no, that's terrible, they're horrible people. No, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you can't blame her because she was raised in a country that saw them as the opposite.
And she experienced it. I mean, she saw it. My granddad was born 6 years before the bloody independence day, and he saw what happened, and he saw what happened periodically after that. He saw what Pakistan did to Bangladesh, and how India had to intervene to stop that entire genocide from happening. This is such a cool parallel, because if you guys just Google the 19, I believe it was the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, 80s or 70s, I'm not sure, but there was a huge genocide. 80s, it was 80s, it was post-independence, so 80s. There was a huge genocide that took place because Pakistan wanted to claim the land that is known as Bangladesh as being a part of their land. So they wanted to do something pretty unique. They wanted to have an East Pakistan and a West Pakistan. West Pakistan is the current Pakistan, right? And East Pakistan is what we know as Bangladesh. Now, obviously, first thing they did was ask, are you comfortable with being a part of the country? And everyone was like, no, we want an independent state like India and Pakistan. But then and I did very detailed research on this. I promise you, I'm not talking out of my ass. I did.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with.
I wrote a report for this in 10th grade.
With Kashmir.
But yeah, eventually they didn't agree, so they were like, "Fuck you, we'll take you by force." So they went in. The soldiers do what they did: kill civilians, rape people, that kind of thing, and went on. Took a lot of international intervention to finally grant Bangladesh its independence, but it was very dirty. So I guess with that kind of parallel, it's very easy to understand where Attack on Titan is coming from. And that's
the same thing. I think it's the same as what Kashmir's kind of going through, where Kashmir wants their own independence, and Pakistan is like, we will save you from India, and Kashmir's like, no, dog, we just want to be our own thing. And India's like, no, you're a part of us. It's kind of the same thing, and it's just anyway. Going off of that, there was this other theory I read about Attack on Titan where Isayama did some it may be based on the Nihilum, which in biblical stories is half offsprings of half fallen angels and women. like human women, and they were larger than life, and they would like terrorize people, and they would like eat human flesh to survive and stuff like that. There's a lot of parallels with that, and there's I don't know. Isayama's a genius. What can you say?
Yeah, it's clear to see if you do a little bit of digging. He has consulted mythological works from everywhere, obviously. So and non-mythological. So obviously, the parallel to German activity, Nazism, World War II, is apparent immediately. And then, if you were to dig into the Tree of Life, which you see in the trailer for the second part of season 2, I don't know why I'm calling it the Tree of Life. It's a tree. It's just a tree. Okay. Huh?
The trailer's out.
Can you say that again?
The trailer is out.
It came out at the end of season 1. Well, very short teaser in which like people are pointing.
He's talking about season 2. He's talking about season 2, not season 4.
Season 4.
Season 2. I thought season 4.
No. Season 4, part 2. The teaser, the one in which they're pointing at Emir. That one. Yeah, so the tree that you see in that, right? So someone did hella digging into like, what does this mean? Where does it come from? And they found out that this has very strong connection to Gaelic mythology, right? My first impression was Norse because of Yggdrasil, right? Yeah. So that was my first impression. But no, it turns out it's completely different. It's from Gaelic mythology. And that guy actually, like, he postulated how he thought the anime was going to end. And he got pretty close. I gotta respect that.
He probably got closer than Isayama himself.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that, yeah.
Oh man,
bro, I think that with that, all I'm gonna say on that topic is, I think Isayama realized that 139 chapters was too little, and he was like, oh fuck, oh shit, what do I do? There's too much unresolved conflict. I need to do something. Have you guys read the extra pages?
Fresh on my mind. I'm trying so hard to not talk about it.
Have you read the extra pages? I haven't read the extra pages yet.
I have read the extra pages. It's somehow
Anyway, off the manga.
My man's pleading. He's like, please.
I wanted to talk about the scene in season 1 where Eren, Armin, and Mikasa, after they go into the inner wall, after like his mom was eaten, whatever, and they're getting like their rations, right? Ali, do you remember that part?
Yeah.
If you look closely, there's like a hooded figure in the background, which is supposed to be Eren's future form, traveling back in time to see all this like. It's still a theory, but I saw that for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh.
No, when they were in the tunnel, there was only one guy standing there. It was a hooded figure just standing there.
There was one guy standing there, but if you look to the other side, like closer, like next to that guy, there are 2 other figures, one wearing a scarf and one with blonde hair, as adults.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that the blonde haired one was probably Emir. Just chilling. Maybe, I don't know. But no, it's possible because everyone else was like scrambling for food and rations, and they were standing there. Why are you standing there? Because you don't belong there. That's why. But that's crazy, bro.
There's like a lot of. I think this guy just does a great job with like the little details.
Yeah.
In like which is why you should always binge watch Attack on Titan after you're all caught up, because you can like make out like these little things, and it just blows your mind every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should rewatch it at least once. I agree.
Can someone like?
Why do I keep going back to the manga?
Bro, are you eating namkeen? What are you eating, Bianca? What are you eating? Yeah, that's namkeen, bro.
Oh, nice.
That's mixture.
That's what?
That's mixture. That's a South.
Yeah, mixture. Namkeen, bro. Namkeen.
We call it namkeen.
Spoken like a true desi.